What is up, YouTube? This is Instinct, and I am making my 100th subscriber video. For this video, I'm going to be telling you guys a cool story about something that happened to me a few years ago that involved a police officer running me down with a gun. But anyways, I wanted to start off by saying that it's taken me just under 2 months to reach my first 100 subscribers, and I'm having a blast making these videos for you guys. Like some of you guys may know, I'm at college right now, and I'm studying physical education, and I'm also on the men's soccer team here, so my life is kind of busy, but every day I'm making these videos for you guys, and I'm really enjoying it, and it's a lot of fun. So thank you to my first 100 subscribers. I know there's going to be many more to come, and I'm really enjoying it. So before I get started, if you have a story that you would like me to tell for another video in this series, please be sure to give me a 1 to 2 sentence description in the comments below. And if I like your story, I will contact you for more details, and I will eventually pick a few and make them into videos to post them on my channel. So let's get started with this story about the time that I was run down by a cop. So this story begins with me getting home from my camper at about 10 p.m. on a Sunday night. My family owns a lot at a campground that's about an hour away from my house, so on weekends in the summer, my family would like to go up there. Anyways, it was a Sunday night, and I was just getting home, and all of a sudden I heard a car crash at the end of my street. So instinctively, I wanted to go see what was going on. I was 15 at the time, so my dad was there with me, and I told my dad that I was going to go down there and I'd be back in a minute. He said okay, and that if anything needed to be done, like if he needed to call 911 or anything, to just give him a call. So I grabbed my phone and I started walking down the street. The end of the street is probably about 100 yards from my house, so once I got to the end of the street, I took a right and I started walking towards where I heard the car crash. About 100 yards from where I turned the street, I saw a car crashed up against a tree, and there were police everywhere. There was probably at least like 5 or 8 police cars surrounding the area, and I just walked a little bit closer and stood and watched for a second. Like I said, there were police everywhere, guys running around like looking for somebody almost, and I was just sort of just enjoying the view. After about a minute, I decided that there was nothing really special going on, and I turned around and started walking home and called my dad and told him that there was anything bad happening, and there was already police there. So now this is where the story gets interesting. While I was talking on the phone with my dad, a police officer decided to pop out of a bush, run across the street, gun drawn, and starts yelling at me to get my ass on the ground. I had no idea who was yelling at me or what was going on, so I sort of just, looked over my shoulder and just kept walking, thinking he wasn't talking to me. I walked a little bit farther, and then I saw a light shining behind me. I did sort of like a half turn to see why somebody was shining a light at me, and I saw a police officer probably about a few feet behind me, gun drawn in my face, and yelled, "Get your ass on the ground!" So meanwhile, I'm still on the phone with my dad, so I'm sort of sitting there, I'm like, Dad, gotta go, bye. So I hung up the phone, dropped the phone, and just laid down in the grass next to the street. The cop put his gun away and started asking me a million questions. He was asking me things like, what are my name, where do I live, what am I doing there, and sort of like so many questions at once, and I didn't really know how to answer them because my heart was beating like 1,000,000 miles an hour, and after all, I was 15 years old and a cop just put a pistol in my face. So I was kind of stuttering, scared, I was only 15 years old, and I didn't really know what to do. So, after the police searched me, he got on his little radio and he was like, this is Officer So-and-so. I've got a suspect who needs to be identified. He's breathing really heavily and he doesn't seem to want to answer any questions right now, so please send the witness over to such and such location. So I'm laying on the ground talking to myself and I'm like, yeah, really, you just stuck a gun in a 15-year-old's face and you expect him not to be breathing heavily? Like, really? So at this time, my breathing sort of went back down to normal, and I was able to tell the officer my name and why I was there. So I'm like, officer, my name's Billy, and I'm just here because I heard a car crash, and I wanted to make sure that nobody was hurt, and that if somebody needed to call 911, that I can call 911. So the officer told me that regardless of what happened, then I needed to be identified before I could be released. So as I'm laying there, my phone next to me that I dropped starts to ring. So I turn around and I ask the police officer, can I answer the phone? And he says yes. So I pick up the phone and I say, hello? And of course it's my dad, and the first thing that he says to me is, Billy, what the hell's going on? So I said, well, Dad, I'm stuck here with a police officer who thinks I crashed this car and he won't let me go. So my dad goes, put the effing cop on the phone. So I'm sitting in the grass on the side of a state highway, and I look up to the cop and I said, sir, it's for you. So the police officer takes the phone and tells my dad that I need to be identified because I'm a suspect in this car crash. So my dad hangs up the phone, gets in his car, and drives like so quick down to where I am. So on the side of the state highway, it's not like a 65-mile-an-hour highway, but it's like 35. So this cop and my dad basically get into like a yelling match about how my dad thinks I'm not the guy, but the police officer can't do anything. So my dad's yelling at him. He's like, he's not even 16. He doesn't even know how to drive. We just got home from my camper. So anyways, the police officer made me stay on scene until I could be identified. So about 5 minutes later, a guy in a van pulls up on the side of the road. The man gets out, walks up on the sidewalk, and stares at me a little bit. He takes a really good look at me, and he goes, well, nah, that's not him. So the cop goes, all right, thanks. The guy gets back into his van and leaves. I turn to the cop and I say, okay. And the cop goes, okay, yeah, now you can leave. He goes, if you have any questions, feel free to come by the station in a little bit, and we can talk to you. So the cop walks away and leaves my dad and me just sitting on the side of this road, and we're like, okay. So that night, me and my dad go home, and in the morning, we go to the police station to see if everything was settled. My dad goes up to the guy at the counter, and he asks the guy, well, did the guy ever get caught? The guy at the glass goes, oh, yeah, here's a picture. He slides a picture underneath the glass, and this is the best part. Don't get me wrong, I'm not a racist guy, but the police hands over a picture of a 40-year-old black guy. So let's take that in for a second. A 15-year-old white Caucasian kid was mistaken for a 40-year-old black male. So me and my dad go walking out of the police station laughing our asses off. And so in general, like that's my story. I was walking down, I just got home from my camper. I was 15 years old, and I was mistaken for crashing a car, and the guy that actually did it was 40 years old, and he was black, and I'm white. So it's kind of funny. But I hope you guys like this story. Sort of a very abrupt ending. I thought it would be something that you guys like to hear. If you guys enjoyed this video, please make sure to leave a comment with a story that you would like me to tell on this channel for you. If you're not a subscriber already, please make sure you subscribe, and I will see you guys later. Thanks, guys.